Okay, this lesson is on the coordinate plane. Now, this is a lesson that was in your last module for grade 5 math, but we're just going to do a quick review in case you did happen to not get it in the spring. So this is just a piece of graph paper. In 6th grade, we call this the coordinate plane. And we're going to actually learn a lot about it this year. But first, we're just going to learn how to plot and read some points. All positive numbers, not real hard stuff. But I need to show you a few things about this coordinate plane. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to draw myself. I'm going to use a highlighter so it kind of stands out here against the dark lines on this paper. I'm going to draw myself a big letter L. Doesn't stand for loser. These are what we call the axis on the coordinate plane. So there are lines that intersect on the coordinate plane, and they intersect right here. So if I kept extending this line and this line, I'd make a big plus sign, which is what we're going to end up with later on this year. But right now it's just a big letter L. At the corner of this L, there are two coordinates, and they are 0 and 0. I call that the origin. Okay, that's called the origin. That's where everything begins. From there, I'm going to count, and I'm going to number the numbers of my lines here. So I'm going to start, and I'm numbering the lines, not the spaces. So I'm going to start with the number 1, and the number 2, and the number 3, and the number 4. And I'm just going to keep numbering my lines. I'm kind of writing right on the line because I'm counting lines here. I'm not counting spaces. Okay, so I took that up to the number 12, and now I'm going to take this up to 12. Remember, this corner here is 0. So this would be 1, 2. You have to know how to count to do this. Okay, so now I've got 1 to 12, 1 to 12, okay? This line right here, this is called the horizontal line. I'm going to write it here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. This is the horizontal line. I have another piece of paper for us to look at, and that might make it a little bit easier. This is called the x-axis. This horizontal line is always called x. This line is the vertical line. I'm going to label it here, vertical. And Mrs. Howell and I will be giving you notes on this. This is the vertical line. This is the y-axis. Okay, so I have an x-axis, that's this line, and I have a y-axis, that's this line. When I read the numbers on these axes, it's going to go alphabetical. So think about what comes first in the alphabet. X comes before Y. I'm always going to read the X before I read the Y. Okay? So there's an X-axis and a Y-axis. I'm always, always, always going to start at this origin. Think about home. Think about this being your home. If I asked you how to get from home to school, you wouldn't start explaining your directions from over here or over here or over here. You would start explaining the directions to me from your home. So we're always going to start at 0 and 0, and we're going to count over on the X and then up on the Y. So I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute here. Okay, I'm going to count over on the X, up on the Y. So now, take a look at this graph paper. This one's got some stuff on it. It's got some vegetables on it. Okay, so notice it's already labeled. Here's my x-axis. Here's my y-axis. Okay, notice where it starts. It starts at 0. This is my origin. I am always going to start at 0. Okay, so if I wanted to find out where the pineapple was, here's the pineapple right here, I would count over first and then up. I'm going to read the x-axis first and then the y. So I'm going to count over from the 0 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's my number on the x-axis. And then I'm going to climb up 1, 2. So if I wanted to tell somebody else where that pineapple was, I would write it like this. And I'm going to write it in parentheses, the number 5 with a comma and the number 2. That tells any other mathematician who picks up my paper that if they want to find the pineapple on my coordinate plane, they're going to count over 5 and up 2. Let's test it. If I start at 0 and I count over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I count up 2, 1, 2, I end up at the pineapple. Okay, what about if I have the ordered pair, but I don't know what item is at that ordered pair? Well, I'm going to do the same thing. It's telling me that my ordered pair is at 2, 2. It doesn't matter that these two numbers are the same. It's telling me to go over 2 and then to go up 2. So let's test that out. If I start at 0 and I count over 2 and I count up 2, I believe that's a tomato. So I land at the tomato. We keep this the same all the time so that every mathematician who picks up a coordinate plane like this all has the same directions. Okay, so what about the eggplant? Okay, so this is the eggplant. Let me move my paper up a little bit here. This is my eggplant. And I want to find the coordinates for the eggplant. It's way up here. That doesn't matter. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to count over 1. So I know my first number is 1. I'm not going to go any farther than that because if I go up, I'm going to land up over here somewhere. I want to be right here. So I count over 1 and then I count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my eggplant is at 1, 10. Okay, now let's try another one here. What happens if I go to 9, 7? This is telling me to count over 9 and then count up 7. So I'm going to start at my origin. I'm always starting at my home, counting over 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now it's telling me to count up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that might be a pair. So I'm going to put the word pair here. Now, why wouldn't it be the broccoli? The broccoli is on 9. But look at what happens if I count up for the broccoli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the broccoli would be at 9, 5, not 9, 7. Okay, so again, my x-axis is my horizontal axis. Remember, horizontal goes side to side. My y-axis is my vertical axis. That's the one that goes up and down. That makes it look like side to side, sorry. Up and down, scratch that out. Okay, and we always call our horizontal axis X. We always call our vertical axis Y. You're going to be learning more about this in your Zern video, and you have 2 Zerns to do. And this video is just a review of the coordinate plane.